Hi, it's Chef Robin. Gonna do another cooking video for you, one for Father's Day. So our menu today is going to be steak au pois with Wagyu New York strip steaks from Plum Creek Wagyu. And at the end, I'm gonna have a little promo code, Chef Robin, all in caps, and I'll actually have their website on there too in case you want to order some of these beautiful Wagyu New York strip steaks to have for Father's Day. We're also going to have hasselback potatoes tonight, and we're also going to do prosciutto wrapped asparagus. So excited to do these for you guys. Hopefully you'll love them. All right, so the first thing that we're going to work on is our hasselback potatoes because they take the longest. So my favorite type of potato to use is the Yukon Gold because it's thin in skin and buttery and rich in flavor. So if you have wooden spoons, you'll want to use those. Otherwise, if you have chopsticks, you can use those. But the first thing we're going to do is kind of cut through our potato. So you want to make your cuts about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. The reason we're using a wooden spoon or your chopsticks is so that you don't cut all the way through your potato. So just going to go all the way through to the spoon. Right. So next thing we're going to do, I have a couple others that I already have done. So we're going to add them to a pie plate or whatever you got. I like to put them in a spoke shape, but whatever you want to do. And then we're going to drizzle with about 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm just going to, actually I have 2 tablespoons melted here. I'm just going to kind of drizzle over those potatoes. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is season like a chef. So we're gonna pinch our salt, hold up high, and let that salt fall. When it falls, it's gonna fall in that cone shape. So all of the potatoes are seasoned evenly. So that's the next thing we're gonna do. Next, into our oven, 425, 30 minutes for the first part. So while we're waiting for our hasselback potatoes to bake, we're going to go ahead and get started on our prosciutto wrapped asparagus. So before I came back to you, I boiled the asparagus for 2 minutes. The reason I did that and then set it in an ice bath for 2 minutes is so that the color of the asparagus would enhance and become more deep in color. So 2 minutes boiling, 2 minutes in ice bath, tapping it with paper towels, and now we're ready to wrap. So when I do my asparagus bundles, I consider 6 spears of asparagus to be 1 serving. And so I have that here. And we're going to take our prosciutto and wrap it around that asparagus, right around the center of the asparagus. And I'm doing it on a silk pad on a sheet pan. If you don't have that, you can just put a little bit of oil on any pan just so it doesn't stick to your pan. That's the main thing. Wrapping it up. 2, 1 more. But how beautiful is that? I mean, we got to make it special for Father's Day, right? There we go. We're gonna season like a chef again. Salt and pepper, up, pull through with the pepper. And then I'm gonna do it again with the salt. Okay, but that's not special enough for Father's Day. So we're gonna grate a little bit of Parmesan on top of that. So you wanna grate it up. We're gonna let this hang out though. We're not gonna put it in yet. It goes in an oven, 400 degrees for only about 12 to 15 minutes. So we wanna make sure we kind of let that wait, but it's nice to kind of prep that while your potatoes are cooking. So there we go. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. Our potatoes have been cooking, and now we need to do the second step, which is to add some breadcrumbs and more butter. So we're gonna make it nice for Father's Day. So you just want to, whatever you have, a lot of times I use fine breadcrumbs. Today I'm using panko because that's what I have. So it's all good, no matter what you have. Just sprinkle a little bit on top. Then another 3 tablespoons of butter on top of that. So just kind of drizzle it on top. There you go. Back in the oven, 20 minutes. So I will see you after that. All right, so after your hasselback potatoes have been in there for a bit, you want to go ahead and add your asparagus bundles in. 400 degrees, 10, 12, 14 minutes, depending on how thick your asparagus is. Shout out to my mother-in-law who donated or gave me some beautiful asparagus to use tonight, so I'm thankful for that. In it goes, probably 10, 12 minutes for our asparagus. All right, so the 20 minutes is up. So what you want to do is just kind of baste a little bit with that butter that's on the bottom of your dish. And then we're going to shred some beautiful Parmesan on top of that, and then put it back in. It's going to take about 5 minutes or so after that for that Parmesan to melt. So you want to kind of make sure that you kind of plan that and have that time out with your beautiful New York strips. So we're going to grate a little bit on top. And maybe you might want to set them for a few minutes, and then as you work with your steak at the end, put them back in. There you go. All right, so the star of the show, we have Wagyu beef New York strip steaks. Absolutely beautiful. The marbling is actually amazing. Not like anything that you would even see with prime. Much more marbling going on with this Wagyu beef. The flavor is going to be buttery, intense in beef flavor, everything you want. So if you want to give your dad something extra special, gotta do this. So we are going to start doing our Wagyu beef steak au pois. First thing we're going to do is season with salt and pepper. So seasoning on both sides with a little bit of salt, and then cracking some nice pepper, and we're going to do a little bit on both sides. All right, so we have the New York strips nice and coated with our crushed peppercorns. You want to make sure you have plenty of pepper on them. And I have some canola oil in my cast iron pan because it has a little bit higher smoke point. And we're ready to add our Wagyu New York strips to that pan. It's going to take about 3 minutes per side for medium rare. And really that's what you want to do for New York strips, especially if they're Wagyu. So we're going to hang out for 3 minutes and then turn it over. All right, so it's been about 3 minutes per side. Last thing we need to do, especially with the New York strip, is render the fat on the side of the New York strip. So we are actually going to turn it up and let it set for about 30 seconds. So we're going to hold it to the side and let it cook for about 30 more seconds. All right, so we've put them on their side where you see that fat. Let that render for about 30 seconds. Now we want to let them hang out in some foil and rest, relax for a bit. So we're going to let that happen while we make our sauce. So wrap them up and let them rest. So our amazing Wagyu New York strips are resting, so we got to do our sauce. So the first thing we need to do is add a tablespoon worth of butter into our pan. Once that's melted, we're gonna add a little extra peppercorns in and just let that cook for about a minute. What's next? Cognac, gotta do it. We're gonna pour that cognac in and let that reduce by 2/3. So I have 1/3 of a cup of cognac. Put that in and let that cook down. All right, so we have reduced the cognac by about 2/3. So we are ready for our cream. So we're gonna add that in, and then we wanna reduce again by 2/3. So we gotta let that cook for a bit. You're gonna know when it's reduced. Remember when I talk about putting that spoon in and pulling it out, that it holds to the spoon and becomes nappe? That's the point when it's reduced again. So we're gonna let this cook for a bit until it becomes nappe. All right, so we have been cooking our sauce down, and I have talked to you about the point of nappe, that point when you draw your spoon through and it doesn't fill in. The other point, as far as checking, is to make sure that you dip your spoon in and it holds. And we have the perfect sauce for Father's Day. Woo-hoo. So we wanna stop and let that hold and then build our dish for our fathers. So here we go. But before we do that, we want to make sure we add a wee bit more for our fathers of cognac. You know, we've cooked it out. Want to make sure we give them a little extra into their sauce. So add a little 1 tablespoon extra of that cognac into that sauce. There we go. All right, so we're ready to plate for our fathers. So we have this amazing cognac sauce that we are just going to drizzle on top of our Wagyu beef New York strips. Got it? Okay, we have our asparagus bundles. We're gonna put one on each side of that. And then we have our hasselback potatoes. So we're gonna add one of those on the side of our plate also. I'm actually going to garnish my hasselback potatoes with a little bit of chives. And I'm actually gonna garnish my Wagyu beef with a little bit of parsley. There you go. So hopefully you guys will love this Father's Day dinner that I have put together for you guys. Remember that if you wanna get a little bit of a discount off of Wagyu beef for Father's Day, which is super special. I mean, you gotta do a little something special for your dads or fathers. So remember to put Chef Robin all in caps and you will get a little bit of discount on that. Shout out to Plum Creek. Love the Wagyu beef that you have provided for tonight's dinner. So really happy to be able to cook this tonight. Look at this. Beautiful. So hope you guys will do this for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone. Hope you have an amazing one, and want to do a little shout out to my dad. Happy Father's Day. Love you so much. Hope you have a great day. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.